Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Real Men of Real Estate, hosted by me, Thomas F. Chappelle Jr. I'm here with my very special guest, Dr. Sharon Barnes, and we're going to be talking for about an hour on different things that she's doing in the real estate space. So let's get the chance to meet. I used to know her as Sharon Barnes, but then she told me she has a doctor in front of her name, so I got to call her by her proper name, Dr. Sharon Barnes. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Thomas. Thanks for having me on
Thank
the
you
show.
for joining the show. I really appreciate it. So let's get started on having the folks know who you are and how did you, are you originally from California or what?
I was born in Texas, raised in California, though. My roots are in Compton, from Compton by way of Pomona. Cal State Fullerton, bought my first house back in Pomona. Just been Inland Empire for over 30, 40 years now.
Okay, so you inundated in the Inland Empire. Okay,
Yes.
so let's just give them a brief synopsis of who you are and how did we get here on you doing the things that you're doing. So let's just get started going.
Wow, Thomas, that's a loaded question. And you want me to cover like 30 years in 3 minutes, and I can talk. So let me just hit some of the highlights and just say we understand that as we go through life, stages change and we have to re-strategize. So I was raised in Compton, graduated from Pomona High, went to Cal State Fullerton, started working in aerospace. I started working in aerospace when I was
Wow.
in high school. So some of my, I was back, when they had the Cedar program. So I never worked at Jack in the Box and McDonald's. They wouldn't hire me, okay? But I was with the Legal Aid Society in Pomona when I was in high school. I had a little job at General Dynamics when I was in high school.
Wow.
And so when I went to college and it came time to do the internship, I'm trying to find places to go, and my aerospace exposure in high school got me the internships in aerospace at Northrop and Hughes Aircraft when I was in college at Cal State Fullerton. So, of course, it naturally followed when I graduated from college. My first job was back at General Dynamics, where I was in high school, and I was in the logistics support department. And it was a decent job. I mean, it was good. It had benefits and everything. It was really nice. But I was like 21 years old because I graduated a year early from high school. I graduated at 17. I graduated a little bit early from college. I graduated like by the time I was like 20. And so I'm at 21 punching the clock every day, going through these gates and getting searched, coming in and out of job. I'm like, nah, I don't think I want to do this till I'm 65. Okay, I got to be a better way. So I decided to go back to school and couldn't make up my mind whether I would go for my master's or go to law school, whatever. So I applied to about 10 universities, got accepted at all of them, and still had to decide which way to go. So I thought law was the high road. If I failed there, I could always go back and get a master's. That's just my young mind thinking. So I went to law school. Long story short, I did graduate, did pass the bar, not the first time, but I passed. That's the important part. I started my law career my first cases that I did, believe it or not, was while I was working at Northrop on the B-2 bomber.
Oh.
And I had a couple of colleagues who got in trouble with their security clearance, and they had to go up in front of the DOD. And I had my license. I was fresh off the boat, but I knew aerospace. So I represented them, and I won.
Wow,
And
congratulations.
yeah, I won those two cases, and then outside of aerospace, my first job was with a law firm over in Riverside, was Filler and Bell then, and they did personal injury and medical malpractice. And so that was my first legal job. And back in the downturn of 1994, around 94, 92, back there anyway, we went through a dip, and they had to cut down, and I was laid off as one of the newer associates, and I started my own law practice. Okay. I also got pregnant in 1990, and I had a high risk pregnancy, and my daughter was born with special needs. We rotated in and out the hospital for 2 years, and I couldn't convince anybody that I could work 40 hours for them, although I was working 80 hours for myself.
Wow.
So, you have to do what you have to do.
True.
So, um, I had my own law practice. Then I went into partnership with two other black female attorneys over in Riverside. So we opened up one of the first black female attorney law firms back in 1992. And
Congratulations.
so we did that. That was an experiment that didn't have the results that we hoped for, but it was a good experiment. And then I was back on my own. So I practiced law for a while. I did medical malpractice, personal injury, family law, civil law. What I really liked to do in that practice was help my community. So I did a lot of business coaching, business development. I opened up my office to nonprofits and to small groups. I had an office down in Ontario. I mean, we had everything from Bible study during lunch hour to to business coaching after hours. So there's a lot of people that kind of benefited from that practice. But I think that was my calling, and it's just been to help my community to make informed decisions, to leverage what they have, and to make the best out of what we can do.
Wow. I'm amazed. So, I mean, right now, if we wanted to, we can just cut the show because she just slammed it, dropped the mic and everything. So,
That's just the beginning.
but I mean, that's a wonderful accomplishment, and for you to be able to do all those different things and whatnot. My thing is, give me some of that brain power.
I said, hey, it takes more than brain power. They say, hey, the Lord was there because things happen. I mean, there's challenges along the way. Doing, I have been married to my husband. We've been married 38 years now.
Congratulations.
My number one supporter, my business partner now, and our newest endeavor with the accessory dwelling units. And
Now,
so
do me a
forth.
favor. Say
Yes.
that one more time because there's a lot of people that don't even get a chance to get to 30 years. So,
38.
38. I mean, that's wonderful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? With all the different challenges that goes on in this world, I
Yeah.
mean, for you guys to be able to still be together through the storm, I am very impressed with that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been some storms. I mean, we've had some challenges. I mentioned I had a high risk pregnancy. My daughter was born with cerebral palsy. We rotated in and out the hospital for a couple of years, and her problems, my problems, and there was times when my husband was coming to visit, and my parents, and they were going from one floor to visit me, and down to another floor to visit her.
Wow.
Okay, I remember getting discharged from the hospital and having people drive me to the hospital to see my daughter. And then I was able to drive myself, but I had to push myself in a wheelchair or get somebody to push me to go see. But my baby was in there. Okay?
Yeah, well, that's
So
good.
you have to do what you have to do. Then we had 5 good years, and the Lord ushered her back home when she was 7.
Oh,
But
I'm
he
sorry
left
to
me.
hear that, but I'm glad.
Yeah, but he left me here.
That's
'Cause,
good.
And so all that nurturing and supportive and everything, he left me here for a purpose.
So you fighting
I've
the
been
power.
trying to give it back.
You're fighting the power. So, let's advance in a little bit. So, how did you end up getting into real estate?
It was basically my first push into real estate was my clients. When I was practicing law, I started with a lot of mortgage, real estate investors, mortgage brokers, people that were coming together to do projects across the country. They were forming their LLCs. They needed contractual documents. They needed legal questions answered as they decided which way to go, what entity would be best, and things like that. So I worked with them, and they kept saying, "You need to go into real estate. You need to be our broker. You need to get your license, okay?" And then it was one thing that sometimes these projects, the money doesn't always equal out the way you think.
Correct.
So the real estate license was a value-added service because even as an attorney, I couldn't split into commissions. I couldn't do certain things directly related to real estate and get that real estate related money unless I had a license to do so. So my clients pushed me into getting my real estate license to start with, and I had that combined with the practice of law. And then along the line, like I said, things happen in life, and real estate became my number one. And my legal knowledge is just my value added service that I can give back.
Okay, so that's where I come into play because I knew you as an agent and I didn't know all the other stuff. But now that I know that, it's like, okay, now we on the right track. So when I came into California and started doing it, I ended up meeting you at a real estate investment club called Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I met you and your partner in crime, Latoya Tilley,
Yes.
which she was a guest last month.
Right.
So how did that incorporate with you two?
Oh, wow. Well, my first knowledge and becoming knowing Latoya was as a coworker at one of the brokerages, real estate brokerages in Upland. And she was there with her cousin, and she was starting to work, and they worked real estate. And then we moved to another office, same company up in Colton, and she went and got a job. And so I kept reaching out, like, if you get anything with real estate, I'm here. We can still work together, right? And she came back in, full time, and we started just doing things together because we kind of clicked, and we, shared information, shared knowledge with each other, shared deals and whatever. And it was really kind of funny because, we were in Colton, she would go to her aunt's house for lunch or whatever, and she kept talking about her family. Okay, she kept coming up talking about her family, but one day she went to lunch and she came back, and I guess my name it came up, and she said, "I think you know my auntie," and she said the name. And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, I've been knowing your family for years, and so we know that we've had to cross paths before, but we just weren't aware of each other until then.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to cut this short real quick. We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back with our guest, Dr. Sharon Barnes. Thank you for listening to The Real Men of Real Estate.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
The toughest part in the lending process is patience. Like I tell all my clients, once you get those keys in hand, it'll all be worth it.
Everything that they said they were going to do, they did. I saved so much money working with First Lending Solutions. I love my new house. I couldn't be happier.
So reach out to me at First Lending Solutions so I can help you get started.
You can contact Dafina Miller with First Lending Solutions at 951-973-0123, DafinaMillerMortgage.com.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career
because they actually have experience working in the field. The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Real Men of Real Estate with Steve Matley, construction manager and real estate developer, business owner, and educator.
Did you know that right now there's 22,000 units deficit.
Tunde Ogunwale, real estate development professional, Naval Academy grad, and veteran with a deep understanding of the public sector process.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Brian Fox, real estate expert and investor, dedicated to helping hundreds of clients make money in real estate every year.
There's so much housing going in.
The builders are begging for more land.
Future company can come in, lease up space to employ those people who are living in the homes.
We have to put the housing in place.
We either have to have houses.
They want to make sure that there's a strong employment.
Logistics centers, things like information hubs. We are a shipping economy now. There's economies all over the country where their prices are doubling and tripling.
Welcome back to the Real Men of Real Estate. Your host, Thomas Chappelle, here with our very special guest, Dr. Sharon Barnes. So you was alluding to earlier about LaToya Tilley, who was a guest last month on the show. So if you can continue that, I appreciate it.
Well, as I said, we started working together under a common brokerage in the Inland Empire, and then we decided to start our own investment company. So we incorporated and have our global investment company, and we attracted an angel investor that happened to be related to LaToya as well, and it started open our eyes until the other side of real estate, to that investment side, and that's where the club came in. You know, we were looking to, the first thing we had to realize is that there was two forks in the road for real estate. There was the traditional real estate, the buying and selling and working with investors under the license part, and then there was the investment side, where we could go out and we could buy properties and flip them for a profit. We could come into syndication with other people and buy, so we could leverage up not only for ourselves but for our community. And we had an angel investor who wanted to feed into that and to help the community and to kind of have a private homeowner assistance program for family and friends in our community. And so that's where we started, and from there we've kind of been connected at the hip, you know.
Now, speaking on an investment side, because I am an investor, and I said I met you at the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. Matter of fact, I knew your boss at Coldwell Banker, Lance Martin. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been to a lot of his real estate forecasts that he had over the years. Now he's doing, I don't know if he's still doing, or is he doing virtual or what?
Yeah, everybody's going back and forth.
Yeah,
virtual,
exactly. So here to stay for some. When you say you was working with investors, what did that entail? Because a lot of people that that's on the couch, they sit back and look at the HDTV programs and say, hey, that looks simple. I can get rich off of one deal real quick, and until they really get into the meat of it, then they like, oh, this is too hard. No, I'm gonna go back to my 8 to 5 and call it a DAY. So, explain on the real estate side, how is it to work with investors and all the details you got to go through with investors?
It had the learning curve, because I had to define and understand a true investor from someone who called themselves an investor. Like, you know, I get a call and somebody's an investor, they're looking for these properties, and they have this nice letter of line of credit, and I go out and write 30 or 40 offers and don't get anything, and I don't get paid until you actually buy something and close it. So I'm working for free, and then I find out, okay, we go out, we write the offer, we get it accepted, you go and see it, and then you got to go ask somebody else for the money, and then they say they don't like the deal. Okay, so I wasn't really working for you, I was working with somebody else. I wanted to be with that somebody else. So I had to sift out, okay, and it's a balancing act, okay? Now, we understand an investor, it is a numbers game, okay?
Correct.
Because you're trying to buy with some meat in the game, so you would buy under market because you're going to put money in, you got to calculate the math. Usually that's for people who are really hurting and need to get out, you know, real quick.
Correct.
And so it's also dependent on what the market is doing, okay? There are times when those type of buyers and deals are plentiful, okay?
Correct.
And everybody can get it. And you come in and you can be a couple thousand over the next investor and whatever. And then there's markets like now with low inventory. People know that they can hold out for higher prices. Prices are going up, so even a deal requires you to pay more, put in the same amount of rehab, and maybe come out with some margin at the end. People started off when I started coming to the club, people were looking for 40, 60,000, spread.
Right.
Now we're down to 15 to 20, you know, 15,000, 20,000. Okay. If I can do it in clear 15, I'll take a 10. That's some people. Okay. But in all strategies change because it's like we got where everybody and their mother wants multifamily. So it's like crabs on the barrel. And we know it's crabs on the barrel in Los Angeles. It's crabs on the barrel all the way around us, okay? But now we have the accessory dwelling unit, which is my passion, these ADUs, where we can have the opportunity to create our own multifamily. So you don't have to be a crab. You can just come out that barrel, come over to me, we find you some property, we buy it, get that main house cash flowing, and then build an ADU and then leverage what you already own and control without all that competition. So market shifts, we have to shift our strategies. And right now, the ADUs is the area where California has passed laws to remove a lot of barriers, give us all the opportunity to be developers. We've never been developers before. I remember when my husband and I bought a new home in Rialto, and we slept in the parking lot. You had to stay in line for 3 days to bid on the next 25 houses that's going to be released. Okay? My parents, my sister, people came up to bring us food, to take our places in line while we went to take a shower. I mean, we were in the light. That's what it took. We sold our home that we were living in Pomona because the house was supposed to be done in 2 months or whatever, but we had to sell before we could close on that. So we sold our house and moved in with my sister-in-law, my husband's sister. It was only supposed to be for maybe 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. We ended up like over 8 months, okay, because the schedule slipped. But that was professional developers who already had the permits, who already had the infrastructure, already had the sewer lines. All that stuff was already done, and they slipped. Now we can go in and we can build our own house, but from the beginning we have to go through getting the drawings, getting the permits, and getting the structure built and completed and then leased out. And some people, they think like, okay, I told you what I wanted, I can afford what I wanted, when you gonna deliver it? It's not off the shelf. So you need a lot of support and you need a good team, but in the end, it's worth it. It can create generational wealth. It allows you to leverage what you already own and control and put you to being the lender and not always the borrower. And that's what I really want more people to do before we become crabs in the barrel in LA.
Well, I want to take a step back just a little bit before we get into that part. Talking about investing and what people to understand, because we do have a lot of people that do come to these real estate meetings and saying that they want to be bird doggers and wholesalers and things like that. So I branched off from the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, and now I have a club called Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. So if you take out the black, you have Inland Empire, you add the black, then you have the Black Inland Empire. And the only reason why it's black in front of it because I'm a black host who hosts the club. It's once a month, every third Wednesday of the month. Right now we're virtual. We were live, but now because of the pandemic and Zoom has taken over the world, then now we're virtual. Next year I'll go do both virtual as well as live. And Sharon is one of the mentors of the club, so she has graced her presence with me to be an asset to the club. So when we have these individuals that come to these meetings and saying that they're bird doggers or wholesalers or things like that, what do the agents feel about those individuals? I mean, or they feel like they're as equal, or they feel like they're taken away because they don't have the licensing and they didn't go do all those type of things and whatnot. So people that you would work with or not work with?
I think there's both because when we came in, Latoya and I, when we came into the club, and I speak for myself, when I came in to the club, it was really refreshing to meet people with various interests and resources in that investment and real estate arena. And being a real estate agent is only part of that. I think a real estate agent can be a real asset to an investor and vice versa, but you have to have a real estate agent that understands what the goal of the investor is and is willing to do that. Okay?
Exactly.
And so they have to immerse themselves in understanding that track, as I said before, traditional real estate versus the investment real estate. Okay, because there is some differences. The paperwork in the end might be very similar, depending on how they do it, because they're retail investors. I mean, they're buying the MLS, they're going through, but they have certain goals and numbers and locations and different things like that that they want to achieve. And then some of those details that the investor goes to, or the way they work with a title company or escrow, it doesn't line up perfectly with what the real estate training is. And so some realtors who don't understand that other side will think that you're doing something illegal or you're doing something whatever. And it's like, I read one time there was like over 70% of the real estate sold was non-MLS. I mean, non-traditional. It's that off-market,
Correct.
Stuff. I mean, they're selling 70% to our 30% traditional, but the way we're taught, that traditional is it. Those are the things we count. That when they say mortgage rates going up and how many buyers we had and none of that, we're talking about that official, but there's a lot of unofficial things going on. And so you really have to find a realtor who's willing to work with an investor and understand that, because it can be mutually beneficial. And I think coming to the club is a great asset because, I remember when I first came in here, kind of playing ear hockey, not really, but people were talking. But I remember they was having a conversation and said they had spent like over $40,000 on real estate training trying to get, their first flips and get set up. And they start coming to the club, and they learn more in a couple of months at the club than the money they spent.
This is true.
Okay, and so it's like wow, And then you're sitting there, and even with myself, when we did a flip up in the high desert, and things didn't go according to schedule, money didn't stretch as long, and I was blessed to walk into the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Club and find someone who was willing to invest and trust in me that I could pull this off and give me the bridge capital that I needed to make it happen. Otherwise, I could have just everything went down the drain. And so being in the club has been a benefit, and I think it's a benefit to anyone who wants to really get in there to get that group and to get going.
Well, the thing about the club is that, we are non-sales club. We're not selling no books, tapes, videos, or any type of programs and things like that. It's just network support. And like I tell people, all I really want is your brain. I don't want your money, because you get to learn more without have to spend a lot of money just because you think you got it from a guru, and there's no such thing as a guru. No disrespect to the hustle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But everybody has the same, we all on the same playing field. It's just that how fast do we want it? What we rather get out of it. So that's what the clubs offer and things like that. So I had the opportunity to work with you as well as your partner in crime, Latoya, and you guys were sending me stuff and understanding what we were looking for, because it's hard to find investors that's going to capitalize. I've heard a lot of agents get mad because, you're always putting a low ball offer in. It's because the numbers have to work out. And then a lot of the agents that I know that was definitely black, they end up getting out of the game because they felt like they wasn't taught right, and they're not making no money and this, that, and the other. So they had to go back and get a regular 8 to 5, and then they came back to real estate. And it's
a hard, because you have to. To be real estate, you really have to have that entrepreneur spirit. Okay?
Exactly.
I mean, the entrepreneur works things you're passionate about, and there's no guaranteed, flow or results from that effort as far as monetary. Every week or 2 weeks, you're not getting paid.
Exactly.
So you have to do. I mean, I'm still, trying to get the cash flow. Okay, it's like, I want to have a relationship with my income, not just be kind of like a beck and call girl. Like, okay, you close this one, you got some money, but you do without it for 6 months. But this is just something that we have to work towards. But real estate it is you're in business for yourself, and whether you're with a broker or not, it's your business, and you're an entrepreneur. And if you don't embrace that spirit, then yes, a job with 9 to 5 and a paycheck is probably where you need to be.
Well, see, like I tell everybody, it's just like watching Shark Tank. You have a panel,
Yeah.
and the panel sit there. You bring the product, and
Yeah.
the panel decides whether or not they want to invest into your product.
Exactly.
So we're about to take another commercial break. We'll be right back with our guest, Dr. Barnes. This is the Real Men of Real Estate. Thank you.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
The toughest part in the lending process is patience. Like I tell all my clients, once you get those keys in hand, it'll all be worth it.
Everything that they said they were going to do, they did. I saved so much money working with First Lending Solutions. I love my new house. I couldn't be happier.
So reach out to me at First Lending Solutions so I can help you get started.
You can contact Dafina Miller with First Lending Solutions at 951-973-0123, DafinaMillerMortgage.com.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career.
Because they actually have experience working in the field. The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Real Men of Real Estate with Steve Matley, construction manager and real estate developer, business owner, and educator.
Did you know that right now there's 22,000 units deficit?
Tunde Ogunwale, real estate development professional, Naval Academy grad, and veteran with a deep understanding of the public sector process.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Brian Fox, real estate expert and investor, dedicated to helping hundreds of clients make money in real estate every year.
There's so much housing going in.
The builders are begging for more land.
Future company can come in, lease up space to employ those people who are living in the homes.
We have to put the housing in place.
They either have to have houses.
They want to make sure that there's a strong employment.
Logistics centers, things like information hubs. We are a shipping economy now. There's economies all over the country where their prices are doubling and tripling.
Welcome back to the Real Men of Real Estate, hosted by me, Thomas F. Chappelle Jr., with our very special guest, Dr. Sharon Barnes. So we're going to go fast forward a little bit and talk about your specialty right now, which is ADU. So take it away.
Take it away. Well, I've been focusing on ADUs now for about 3 years, a little bit more than 3 years. I was taking a training to take my business to the next level. And one of my past clients, friends, I mean, going back to even being a legal client where I help her set up several businesses and so forth in the Inland Empire, she told me about a friend of hers who had gotten a job down in Los Angeles where they were leasing out the backyards of homeowners, building ADUs and leasing them and splitting the profits with the homeowner at no cost to the homeowner. And I got excited because I'm like, wow, that's what we need. I mean, we're in the Inland Empire. We got some of the smallest houses, the biggest lots. We got credit problems. We don't have money. You know what I mean? We could get build a ADU in the backyard and lease it out and give people extra cash. And people were talking about how much difference $600 a month would make to the average family. And I'm like,
for sure.
wow, you could get that just on your split, you know?
Exactly.
So I started down that path 'cause I thought it was like really great. But then my investor friends was like, okay, how did that pencil out and how I get my money back? And they own the property. And so, it took a deep dive. And then while I'm diving, trying to figure out that model, the laws kept evolving. So basically, these ADUs, some people call them granny flats, casitas, guest houses. I really don't like those terms. I mean, I don't because I know why they use them is because it's familiar to us. That we
Correct.
all grew up and we knew back houses. And in LA, they had a lot of, back houses and so forth. And we knew the guest quarters in the more upper, class areas or whatever. And they had maid quarters. But these ADUs are not your grandparents' back houses. They're not, the elite guest houses.
Okay.
They are modernized small houses. I know we got the tiny home, but this is different because the ADUs meet the standard building codes. So if you're living in a stucco house with lifetime tile roofing, with all the internet connections inside, it's a smart home, stainless steel appliances or whatever. All we're talking about doing is taking your nice, big, luxurious home and making a smaller model. And they will look like family. They will feel like family. They will have recessed lighting, the newest appliances, all the technology. I mean, we can make them green efficient. Back in the day, a back house, you couldn't even have a full bathroom or a full kitchen. That's why, if you remember, they would have like a little hot plate.
Right.
Okay, and maybe a toilet if they were lucky. Other than that, you have to go to the main house.
Right.
ADUs are to be self-sufficient. They are to be self-sustaining, that you can go down the side of the garage into your house and live long-term without ever having to go to the main house for anything. And so it makes it cost-effective because you can rent them out. You can rent them out to a lot of people are doing them now for visiting nurses. Some are doing for families. I've been working with a couple of the companies. One, the ADU Resource Center in LA. In Glendale, they're expanding out this way. And also local contractors that are building ADUs. So I've talked to a lot of homeowners in our area. And I would say that most of the people that's building the ADUs that I've talked to are in the age range of 40 to 50. They are building for adult kids and parents. Okay?
Adult kids.
I had one of my first projects in Rancho. She says, I got two sons. Three. One is on his own now. She wants to move back home, but she said that's not happening. But the other one, he needs to get out of my house. He can't go out into the world right now, but we're going to put him in the backyard, okay? And we're going to charge him rent. And we're going to save that rent until he's qualified to go get a house. And then his brother's going to go back there, okay? When they're out and on their own, or hopefully gone and bought property and did the same method of buying, building an ADU, getting some rental income, then we can just rent it out. But they want it as a stepping stone for children to get out the house.
Right.
And I do think that during COVID, I think a lot of people thought differently about their space, because especially for that period when we were locked down, and to have everybody confined and not being able to go and come. And I think that's one factor that when it did start opening up, all the real estate market went crazy. People were talking about all this money. People weren't going out to happy hours. They wasn't getting their nails done. Wasn't buying clothes. They was locked down, and then they looked up. They had money in the bank if they were, blessed enough not to lose a job and they
Right.
able to go virtual. They had money in the bank, and all the kids had got on their nerves and like, we need more space, and we're gonna get it by any means necessary. Okay, so they came out, and we got over asking price bids and so forth, and that's coming down a little bit. But I think that we did think differently, and then we had how it hit the senior care facilities so hard, and you couldn't get in to even check on your loved ones. And if you were lucky, you could see them through a window. People much rather have their parents in their backyard, be able to schedule the nurses and
Right.
whatever, and to go and to take care of their family. So I think it's a great opportunity that's evolving. And one of the things behind the ADU law is that we do have a severe shortage in inventory. And the local state government realizes that we can't build ourselves out of it with the large investors. We need every hand on deck. And so they've removed some of the barriers, reduced some of the fees to allow the average homeowner to build an accessory dwelling unit on just about any lot in California that can meet the minimum setbacks. And there are a lot of them.
Now, you said one thing that was interesting is that a homeowner can get one of these units in their backyard and it won't cost them a dime.
Yeah, that's one program. And there are people out there that are investing that way. They will lease your backyard from you, okay? Just lease it out, build an ADU, rent it out, and then share the profits with you, okay? Some of those contracts, they require maybe the first option if you decide to sell, that they get the first option to purchase because you've been partners.
Correct.
So if you need to sell, downsize, or whatever, why not give it to me, especially if we've had a good relationship. Okay, that might be the exit strategy. The company in Los Angeles that I was talking about, I actually got a chance to see some of their documentation, and they had buyout agreement, a price that is filed on record. And so when you get ready to sell, you could buy them out at a certain price, or you can negotiate and allow them to sell to buy the property if something happens to the main homeowner.
Now, ADUs consist of all types of dwelling units now. That could be an regular ADU, transferring your garage into an ADU or putting an ADU on top of your garage, or you got a junior ADU. So if you can dabble on that just a little bit for me.
Okay, so let's take the junior ADU. The junior ADU is in the law, it has to be 500 square feet or less, usually within the existing footprint of the house. So it could be the single car garage, it could be the 2-car garage. I've talked to couples, they had like a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom house, and when you walk in, you have the nice big living room,
Right.
and then you walk through and you had the kitchen, and then the other side of the kitchen they had the great room, right, in the family room before you go out the sliding glass door.
Correct.
Okay, to the back. They have decided to split the house by putting a wall up on the other side of the kitchen, putting another kitchen on that wall on the 2 sides, cutting the door in the wall to the side to lead to the master bedroom that already has the bedroom and the bathroom, and then getting the entrance door. So they are making a unit within that existing footprint, and if it's 500 square feet or less, it can qualify as a junior ADU. And the only caveat, though, right now, the law requires that owner of the house has to occupy the junior or the main house. It's not free to investors right now.
Okay.
Okay. To do a junior ADU, but everything is evolving, and I think that probably will change next year.
Okay. So, with that in mind, you and I definitely need to talk because I can do an investment thing, and for sure, I'm not joking. I'm serious.
I know. I just like now. It's hard for me to even think about. I go out to see properties or working with buyers on that traditional side, and I'm looking at the house like, oh wow, like I have one coming up over in Paris, and it has this nice size flat yard in the back, and it's like, wow, I could put a 700 or 800 square foot ADU, 2 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, walk down the side of the house in this backyard. I mean, and we're in the Inland Empire. It's less than 500,000. I mean, so even with the average rent, you got a positive cash flow of about $500.
Yeah, find me a partner out there. Hey, we can split the profit. We can do a whole lot of different things.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm also an investor in a company called Back Porch Homes. We call it BPH as an acronym, and they do the tiny homes, and now they're moving into single and double wides now. Right. Because I know a lot of the mobile home parks are short on inventory. They either got empty space or they got these dilapidated units there, and the parks can't put no new inventory there because the COVID got them sitting behind from their manufacturers. So now they're looking at a year and a half to 2 years before they can even put new inventory there. So now BPH can be that new supplier for them here in California. So a lot of people are interested in doing the ADUs, especially with the tiny homes. Because I tell people tiny homes has been around for years. They used to just be trailers. Now because the trailers are looking like homes, that's where the tiny home comes into play. So a lot of people are very interested. They just don't know how to value these units to where they can benefit from. So we're finding that very it's a up and down kind of thing right now where everybody's stuck at. So don't know exactly where they're going to go with that. So definitely I want to hook up with you and see how I can collaborate with a homeowner and see how we can make a partnership by just adding the funds to it, build it, and just do it like that.
There's definitely a way. I mean, it's like the syndication 2.0. We just need to do it, and we have opportunity here. And Back Porch Homes, like I had a client over in Rialto, and they have a small yard, but they want to put in the pool and the ADU and put it on the solid foundation. So Back Porch Homes, their product fit perfectly. One of the contractors that I met through the Inland Empire Investment Club came out and sat down with them. We got the architect going. So I mean, it's just pulling all those resources together and pulling that team together to get it done.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our final break. We're going to come back more with Dr. Barnes as well as the Real Men of Real Estate. Thank you.
FireUp Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
The toughest part in the lending process is patience. Like I tell all my clients, once you get those keys in hand, it'll all be worth it.
Everything that they said they were going to do, they did. I saved so much money working with First Lending Solutions. I love my new house. I couldn't be happier.
So reach out to me at First Lending Solutions so I can help you get started.
You can contact Defina Miller with First Lending Solutions at 951-973-0123, definamillermortgage.com.
I love how New School is able to help me greatly with my career.
Because they actually have experience working in the field. The greatest thing about New School is the fact that there are so many different disciplines, which allows you to really understand and get a good insight into different types of design. And I think it's that whole changing mindset of what design can really do for a city, and this is kind of the place to be.
This environment cultivates creative thinking.
Real Men of Real Estate with Steve Matley, construction manager and real estate developer, business owner, and educator.
Did you know that right now there's 22,000 units deficit.
Tunde Ogunwale, real estate development professional, Naval Academy grad, and veteran with a deep understanding of the public sector process.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Brian Fox, real estate expert and investor, dedicated to helping hundreds of clients make money in real estate every year.
There's so much housing going in.
The builders are begging for more land.
Future company can come in, lease up space to employ those people who are living in the homes.
We have to put the housing in place.
That we either have to have houses.
They want to make sure that there's a strong employment.
Logistics centers, things like information hubs. We are a shipping economy now. There's economies all over the country where their prices are doubling and tripling.
Welcome back to the Real Men of Real Estate, hosted by me, Thomas F. Chappelle Jr., with my very special guest, Dr. Barnes. We're going to wrap it up real quick. So any closing remarks that you want to give?
Yeah, I'll just say that I didn't get to answer the question fully before, but on the accessory dwelling unit, you want to make sure that it's real estate. In order to do that, it has to be attached to a solid foundation, and there's requirements for that. But we're here to help put together the team that can make your dreams of having an ADU a reality. And so all the resources you need are in the house. We can find them. Just reach out to us.
So how can they reach out to you?
This is Dr. Sharon Barnes. You can reach me at 909-652-1409, 909-652-1409. And the best email, and probably the easiest one to remember, is sharonbarnes76@gmail.com. And let me know what you need, and we'll have someone reach out to you.
Okay. Now, for those that might not know, starting next month, Dr. Barnes will be having her own radio show on this actual network under the finest women of real estate, hosted by her from the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. So welcome her to the family, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will be talking all about ADUs.
For as me is concerned, I am the host, the guest here. I'm the host here, Thomas F. Chappelle Jr. I am part of the organizer of the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. Once again, it's every third Wednesday of the month. I'm virtual right now. You can find me on Zoom, YouTube, Meetup. Can't even think now. Facebook and Instagram. I forgot about those two. I'm not really a social media guy, so forgive me. But also here at the radio station, I have the Real Men of Real Estate. So just wanted to let you guys know you can reach out to me at area code 404-844-1828. Once again, that's area code 404-844-1828. Or you can reach me at my email, first name, last name, 33@yahoo.com. Once again, that's THOMAS, C like Charles, H like Harry, A like Apple, P like Paul, P like Paul, E like Edward, L like Larry, 33@yahoo.com. Now, most people are going to say, yes, I'm not related to Dave Chappelle. I do not have an E at the end of my name. So remember, I'm the one without the E at the end. So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys listening. Next month, my guest will be Christina Suter from the Pasadena Phoebe, which is for investors by investors. So listen to you. Please check us out on all social media platforms and let us know how we're doing. Thank you very much for listening to us today. You guys have a wonderful day.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.